This curriculum really wants to take into account that we are preparing students for a changing church. The face of the church is changing, ministry is changing. The church actually itself doesn't quite know what it is changing into. We see the things that are disappearing, but we are not yet sure what will be emerging in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And we as a seminary do not quite know what will be emerging, and we are not pretending that we know. And at the same time, we want to prepare students for those kind of ministries that will be coming on their way long after they have left PTS. And so the new Pittsburgh Theological Seminary curriculum wants to prepare students for those kind of new ministries and new context. And in that, it is shaped by several commitments. The first commitment is a commitment to discernment. If you do not quite know how ministry is going to look like and how the church is going to look like, but at the same time you believe that God is going to show up in the church and going to show up in ministry, then one of the most important things that we can give our students is the gift of discernment, the practices of hearts and minds, to discern where God is going to show up. And for people to be able to lead their people, or for congregations to discern where is God leading us and what is God asking us to do next. And so you see woven throughout the new PTS curriculum, you see this commitment to invite people into that kind of mode. The second commitment is a commitment to a deep integration between traditional classical theological disciplines such as Bible and history and theology and the missional context of the church. Often you see those things not connected, sitting side by side, but we are really committed to make them to be integrated in the experience of our students. So that when I have students in my theology class, that I take into account that here I have people who will be serving traditional congregations, or they may be serving in church plants, or they may be serving in non-ordained ministries. And how is it that the things that I talk about in theology, how can that help and shape the kind of ministries that they are involved in? And at the same time, if they are involved in change and new ministries, they will be improvising. They will be improvising on old forms. But in order to improvise, everybody who does music knows, if you improvise, you need to know a melody line really well. And so therefore, they need to know those classical disciplines really well. So then as to see, how does this give shape in forms that we do not yet know, but that will be part of the life of the church in the future. And finally, the curriculum is shaped by wanting to take context as a learning partner. Our students come from a great variety of context, from a great variety of ecumenical backgrounds, from the city, from the country, from a diverse set of economic and social and racial backgrounds. And we want to think about those things not as things that make our life in the classroom harder, but as and things that enrich our classroom and in which we can draw. How is it that ministry gets shape in all those different backgrounds, and how is it that those different ministry experiences can be brought into our classroom? One of the key things in that will be our course in field education. So our students will be serving in different churches, and we spend a significant time in the second year in bringing those students together and bringing them together with professors from the classes that they will be taking at the same time, and thinking about how is it that what I do in the classroom, what I learn in the classroom, how does that integrate and enrich what happens in the field ed setting in which I am, and how does what happens in the field ed setting, how can that come back in the classroom? And in that way we want to think about the context in which we as PTS are located and in which our students are working as something that enriches our work in the classroom. And so we hope if this is something that interests you, if this is the kind of education that you're looking for, that you will come and join us in joining in God's work in the world.